I gotta be honest. I didn't really know what to make the thumbnail, so I kind of just threw up whatever. I'm thinking that'll just kind of be a filler thumbnail for certain streams. But hey, yo, da 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 da, push it to the limit. Welcome in, everybody. Um, we do have a few things to go over today. Um, and since it's I've kind of been thinking about this since it's Wednesday, and Wednesdays are members streams. I obviously do plan to still talk about H3 related content, but I want to kind of also supplement other things in and probably run a little bit either longer or shorter. Who knows? Um, but that way I can kind of add some more content in there to make some clips and stuff. But I'm also planning to extend, not extend. I'm planning to do more streams on Saturdays and Sundays as well. On Sundays, I kind of want to talk about, at least through this month, talk about the religions of different indigenous cultures, different native peoples. I think that might be kind of interesting. But yeah, a lot of stuff as always. I have one video that we're going to react to about Pocahontas, but I kind of wanted to talk about the overview of the document that I'm working out and the knowledge that I'm trying to expand in myself before I try and come and talk about anything. Because I'm just some dumbass. I didn't go to college, but I know how to do at least a little bit of research. So I'm gonna try and do that as well as watch some videos to help give us some extra info. What's up with the thumbnail? I just explained it, Alex. Welcome in. Yeah, smash the like button, Alex. Smash the like button for the thumbnail. It's a filler thumbnail. I was inspired by people like Lonerbox and other people. Just have something easy to throw in. But as always, let's get into some Reddit posts. This apparently Bradley Martin posted this on his TikTok. I don't know why. Here's the thing. I guess the point. I don't know if he's speaking about it as a negative. The point he's making isn't necessarily terrible. He's saying that the DNC should kind of take a note from Mamdani and how he kind of ran his campaign. Um, but I also don't know if that's necessarily like the. It's not like the best statement. It's not the most true statement, but it's also not the worst statement because they could take a lesson from Mamdani for sure. But overall, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of people that could be used to share the sentiment and don't use Amru. Is that his real name? I don't want to call him Myron. Myron Gaines. Amru, yeah? Amru Fudel? Amru? Amru? I don't know. Because Myron Gaines, I learned this from Papa Gut. On one of Papa Gut's streams, he said that he said Myron Gaines is actually from old chat rooms and is a play on admiring Gaines. And if that ain't the most cringe thing I've ever heard of. My dog is freaking out over fireworks tonight. Oh no. Wishing the best for your pup. My cat peed on the ground last night because he was meowing up a storm. So we locked him out of the room for a minute. And then in anger, in frustration, he pissed on the ground. And now he's sleeping. Hey you. Hey. Hey. He's not even waking up. Dude. What a jerk. What an actual tool. I don't even need to give it we don't even need to listen to it really. The main reason that I think that Myron said anything to begin with is literally because he's like anti-Israel, and so he's like, he's one of the good guys. And I saw some people saying that is he is Zoran Mandani Muslim? So he is Muslim? Okay. That might also be part of it of why he supports him at least slightly. Show cat. Oh, here I'll pick him up. I'll wake him up actually because I think part of the problem is he sleeps through like the whole day and then he just has energy at night. Wants to come in and be like, meow meow meow. Yeah, exactly. Now he's grumpy. What are you grumpy for? Huh? What are you grumpy? Huh? Really? That's all you got to say? Come on. Come on. Why are you so tired? You literally haven't done anything today. Oh, okay. That makes sense. You were eating earlier, drinking some water. You were walking around. You were trying to cover up the pee spot. And now you're like, I'm tired. I'm sleeping. Yeah? You gonna go to sleep right here? Like I'm about to fall asleep in my hand. Okay, I'm gonna put him down. He's getting grumpy. What's up? What's up? Yes, that was him. He might piss on me. Now he's just laying down again. Come on, man. See, I'm too neurotic. I get worried about him. I'm like, he pissed on the floor. Oh no, what could this mean? But he's eating fine. He's drinking fine. There's no other issues. He was running around earlier. He's sleeping again. He was just being an asshole. But yes. Speaking of assholes, Myron Gaines. Moving on. Uh, how far into it are we? We're already 8 minutes into the stream. Okay, this is perfect then. I was going to show this first, but then I realized that's probably not good to show within like the first couple minutes. This was a crazy thing. Majority Report mods response to me calling Hassan a dog abuser. Get Charlie Kirked. That's crazy. That is a crazy thing to say to anybody, but especially when you're a moderator for someone's like some bigger channel. Like that's actually insane. The one and only thing I said was dog abuser. I I really don't even understand. Like just ban them. You're a mod. Why not just ban them? That feels like that would be the easier thing to do, right? I commented in their Reddit that Hassan is ridiculous and got insta banned. See, they do ban people though for just being being associated in. What people need to do is someone needs to test it, make a new Reddit account, go in and just put like, well, obviously you can't already be banned. You have to. This has to be an account that is you have yourself never been banned, and then you create a fresh account to go try and be banned by saying innocuous things. Like you just go like LOL Hassan got owned here and see how quickly you actually just get banned. Yeah, this isn't that shocking, I guess. It's shocking because it's like how can you be so flagrant in somebody else's chat like that you're presumably working for on some level. Um yeah, just I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, not out of the norm for psychos, I guess. Yeah, LOL Hasbad and then Instaban. See what happens. It might. I mean, it could. But this was a funny little post someone posted to the subreddit. Watching H3 interviewing Cruel World Happy Mind. Every time I see this, I get thrown off. I'm like, what does it stand for again? With my dad, and had to share his critical insight. And this is a very astute observation.
Say it again.
What?
What about his son?
Why? His head is so small. He looks like Mr. Incredible.
His head is so small, he looks like Mr. Incredible. I guess that's a compliment. Mr. Incredible. Look at this. Look at that. Wow. Hassan? Hassan? Is that you? It's a compliment. Is that what he said, or did I hear him wrong?
It's like Mr. Incredible.
No, that is what he said.
Right?
I might have been a little quiet, but my bad. Mr. Incredible is, awesome. And, after all. Wait, let me make sure. Didn't think I set this up right. Oh. Yep, it was set up wrong. Perfect. Caught it before I actually played it this time, though. So someone might also say, forget about all the previous few seconds. Someone might also say,
stupid sexy Hassan, why do all the girls like him?
wait, I forgot. I fucking did put this. I put them in the wrong place. God damn it.
Why do people keep saying Superman Hassan Superhero W?
Why do people keep saying Mr. Incredible Hassan, Mr. Incredible W? Oh, that's great. I was YouTube featured on your homepage today, Madman. That's what I like to hear. Hello. No, Mr. Incredible, I mean, it's a compliment at the end of the day. Saying you look fit, you look strong as can be. Apparently Millhouse wants on. He wants on the podcast now. He's like, I can handle it. You did terribly, Cruel World Happy Mind. I was in Girl with a Microphone chat when she was talking about it yesterday. And one thing I pointed out, because she said no snarking. And I will say, we don't need to send her any type of, personalized hate. You know what I mean? That's unnecessary. You can critique, the arguments that she made and the ways that she spoke without needing to get personal. I was gifted 3 memberships this week. Alex, Nick, and Loner. Wow, that's great stuff. The love is being spread. I might be online too much. That might also be the case, but who knows? But yeah, apparently Millhouse wants on. Anthony wants on.
Should I? They've asked me on twice, man, and I did put the condition, hey, you want me on? You got to drop the lawsuits. They're never going to drop the lawsuits. But at this point, if this is the only person they're going to speak with, now part of me...
At this point, fuck it. Who cares about the lawsuit? I love that. I love that so much. He basically just said, you know what? At this point, fuck it. Why should I care? I need the clout. Nah, I mean, if he's got something to say, we can bring up the you laughing at Israeli civilians dying, getting murdered. We can talk about all that too. Apologies. I mean, if you think an apology needs to get made for some fucking weird, like Cruel World Happy Mind caring about the well, what really does you going? I mean, what does that mean? Yeah, I mean, it's just now. See, instead of I'm gonna just keep saying I mean. But I mean, come on, cut the crap.
It feels like I need to kind of should I go in there and clean up the mess a little bit? Is that cocky of me to say?
What do you mean clean up the mess? This isn't even what? No, everything she said in that video was actually very well put. She just cannot articulate why. I don't understand. What does that even mean? Yeah, but the stain on the chair. She can never come back from that. That's why I use this background. Clean, crisp, beautiful. If Milhouse comes on, I think they should give AB a chance to confront him. Yeah, the my editors thing also. We're gonna get into it in just a second. I think so someone did go through her other videos and noticed a trend. She loves to use snark pages. Brittany Dawn snark. She uses her real TikTok too, but it's like you do understand that what you're doing is you're getting your criticisms from these snark pages, which are designed to like I don't even know how to articulate it well, because it's like they're meant to kind of like harbor these unrealistic criticisms, and like when you yourself should just be able to draw your own criticisms, I think is like the biggest kind of issue with it. Because if you're using snark, that means you are fine. Like, and I guess that's her point, right? She's like, I just show what other people are saying. I don't have a perspective. I don't know what any of this stuff means. I don't have a perspective. It really was just maybe a pointless conversation at the end of the day. Like, if we really think about it. Never use Reddit or Wikipedia as a primary source, y'all. Didn't we learn this shit in high school? I mean, legitimately, if you didn't learn how to source things, like, at least a little bit well, like, obviously we're never going to be perfect. Like I said, I didn't go to college. I don't know the, like, ins and outs of, like, cross-referencing your references, like, in a very scholarly manner. But I can at the very least find original videos for like drama shit. That's at least a little bit easier. And that's why I'm kind of giving myself a bigger challenge throughout this month to try and learn more about Indigenous Americans, let's say, just because I know that you say different things across North, Central, and South America, so we'll just say Indigenous peoples. But I literally have created like a whole document trying to get things from like, you know, actual like data reports rather than getting them from like articles that are leaned in one direction or the other. The hardest thing is finding uncritical videos. Or not uncritical, I guess unbiased videos. It's fine to be critical, but because most videos do have an agenda, but it's easier to find data, I guess. But like I'm saying, if you're doing stuff strictly about drama, you should be able to just watch the video in its entirety and draw criticism from that. Her meeting her husband in homeschool was the icing on the cake. She only had online school, so everything was probs, Reddit, and Wiki. I mean, if you're using Wikipedia, how hard is it to just then source like from the Wikipedia? That's the other thing, right? Like when she was using like Zionism, like the definition of Zionism, and then like used Wikipedia as the source. How hard is it to just go and find where they're getting this definition from and then use that as like the basis of your claim, being like, as defined by this whatever in this book, they define it as this, by this author, by this scholar, by this politician, whatever. Yeah, you scroll down, click the source links. Not that hard. You know all the numbers. You know how when you're reading through Wikipedia and you see it, and it's like, why does it say 4 right here? Why does it say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13? Why does it keep saying these numbers? Click them and see what happens. Yeah, good luck. Oh, we're saying good luck. I thought you were. I got confused for a second. I thought you were saying good luck to Taylor Lorenz in terms of researching. But good luck to Taylor H. Second interview today for a job. I've been unemployed since January. Wish me luck. So happy to have this community today. I need it. Shout out to you. Hoping you the best. Knocking on wood for you. I have a real wooden desk right here. Crossed fingers here. Crossed Crossing my crossed fingers, knocking on wood. Hoping the best for you. But yeah, she used a bunch of snark subreddits. I don't know why I couldn't think of the term subreddits. We're on a subreddit right now. And then a lot of Twitter posts, Twitter, TikTok posts, Reddit posts. When again, it's like these things are clips of actual like greater content. I'm sure some of these might be the influencers themselves. Like when it comes to the, like I don't know who this is, Acacia Kersey or Brittany Dawn. They might be like legitimately TikToks from their account. Like this one says real Brittany Dawn, so I imagine some of these are things from her account. But also like even so, using yeah, like this too. The Nikocado one doesn't necessarily use that many subreddits, but it does use also like hate videos. Nikocado mental breakdown compilation. Nikocado try not to laugh. The disturbing truth of mukbang, a documentary. Mukbangers eating unusual foods. Nikocado avocado before versus now. What's the YouTuber's weight? Nikocado avocado. We need to talk. And I think it's just showing the snark undertone throughout all her videos. My BF just got his Canadian citizenship. Should we move there? Yay or nay? It might be a yay. Free healthcare? Ooh. I've been thinking about when I'm ready to have kids. I might need to make a trip on that 9th month, you know? Dual citizenship too? Just saying. My stomach just gurgled. Hey, Canada's got its own problems too, though, to be fair. Trust me, when doing my research, I'm trying to, like I'm saying, I'm doing research on North, Central, and South American indigenous peoples and learning a bit about what has been done to the different tribes in the north. What do they say in Canada? What do they call the different groups? They call them fuck. Because I always thought this was weird. I know in because people always say like you're not supposed to say Eskimo, you're supposed to say Inuit, but like Inuit's one tribe, right? Like that's a singular tribe. First Nations, that's it. Couldn't remember. First Nations. In Canada, we say Indigenous, which includes First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. So First Nations is considered separate as well? Because obviously there's like tons of tribes. Like, yeah, there are over 630 First Nations communities in Canada. Oh, First Nation does not have a legal definition, though, so that's probably why they make sense. My brother-in-law is Inuit, and he demands to be called an Eskimo. Hey, you heard it here first. My dad has a friend who's a Native American. I forget what tribe, but my dad said ever since they were young, he's always said, don't even call him an Indian. He likes to be called an Injun. He says, call me an Injun. And I think that's kind of crazy, but hey, you know, to each their own at the end of the day, right? That's the whole thing, is about giving the peoples what they want. I think First Nations are kind of intermediary in the organization of society compared to tribes scattered sort of thing. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Like using it as like a blanket term rather than talking about the scattered tribes. That makes sense. intermediary in the sense of between tribes and colonizers. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Well, a little bit of a side tangent there. I did also want to point out this. I don't have too much to say, honestly. What did you guys think of the whole conversation? I know Papa Guts reacted to it already. Nicholas Diorio's reacted to it already. Gwam's reacted to it already, and I appreciate all of the reactions they did. I could do a reaction of this maybe on Friday if you guys want. It's just legitimately listening to her say so many times. I had to look at it through the I wanted to look through the transcript and see how many times you can see it just highlighted in yellow. I know some of these are Ethan too. He started getting locked in on it too. He ended up saying it almost just as much as she was by the end. Not just as much, but it was coming up a lot. It was very painful. But here's the thing that was bugging me more. Tell me if you guys caught this. The thing that was bugging me the most wasn't even the fact that she was using these filler words. It was that she kept saying exactly. When I looked through it, she didn't say it that many times ending up. When I looked through, I was like, wow, I thought she said it a lot more. But it just hit me so hard every time that she said it, because she said exactly and then immediately would miss the point that they were making, like every single time. I could just probably click on a single one, like let's just say.
And any other ones that we come across here, if you show me the full context and I think it doesn't fully apply, or I talk to you and you disavow.
I'll leave the edit. I'll leave the editing choices up to you. My point is not to remove
but I also
or to silence
have a positive
criticism.
Conversation.
I just to kind of exactly. But
oh wait, no, he said exactly first. Sorry. Oh no, I'm proving myself wrong.
I should have gone. So your point is that I should have let him off the hook.
No,
what's the criticism?
God damn it. I'm just proving myself wrong here. See, the problem with YouTube's transcript is sometimes they get overlapped and they get lost in it.
Original sourcing. Sorry, what?
My unedited conversation with him is still on our channel.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I fully agree with that.
Okay. So do you think, do you think I exploited John for content, or are you walking back on that? Not that I even care about that accusation, honestly. I find the whole thing a little bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, again,
just doesn't seem that serious.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to ethical content creation,
because she agreed, yeah, exactly. I should have done my due diligence to learn more about the context of this conversation that you had to try and understand it better. But she's saying exactly, that makes sense. And then immediately goes, well, I think in ethical content creation, yada, yada, yada. When in reality, all she was saying was, I don't think that you should have talked to him at all. I get to decide what you talk about. I was getting really overstimulated, but I was high as a kite. Lots of trauma dumping put Ethan and Hila in a tough spot. And I don't mean to be, I never want to diminish anyone's trauma. But at a certain point, your trauma is not relevant to the conversation at hand. I understand there was some relevance in terms of her brother passed away, and so she had to, she was dealing with that and didn't learn as much about the conflict and genocide in Israel and Palestine, and the genocide in Gaza. But that in itself also did not necessarily have much weight in the conversation that they were having. And it's fine to show your empathy through the experiences that you've had, so showing that you can relate in certain ways. But at a certain point, it does come across as though you are trying to either downplay or diminish the claims that are being made because of other things that have happened. Her constantly getting distracted mid-sentence by her environment. See, I think that genuinely she was on just super nervous, and so everything was kind of throwing her off. Everything felt just off to her. She showed zero empathy or sympathy towards Ethan and Hila at any point, but demanded it for herself. Yeah, and that's how it came across at the end. Like that's by the end of it, that's how it came across to me. Is it wasn't her trying to show empathy through like these experiences that she had, but rather trying to diminish it by showing that other people have had things like either similar or worse. And I think that that is like a very like, I don't want to say manipulative because I don't know if that was necessarily the intent, but it's very diminishing at the least. The trauma thing was an odd turn. This is very much speculation, but I feel like it was a trauma dump for Grace pity in the argument moving forward. I mean, and the thing is like, maybe I'm just like a sociopath or something, but legitimately, like, I care about your trauma and I care about everybody as a person. But when we are talking about certain things or having criticisms for each other, you can't hide behind like your life or your history or even your current circumstances. Oh, I'm sorry I was being mean to you. I'm having a bad time. I was having a bad time at work today. What does that have to do with what's going on right now? Okay, you're admitting that you did something wrong. Why use an excuse? Just let's move on. There's no like I don't know. It's just and then obviously trauma makes it harder because you want to be careful when talking about people, like things that have impacted people. And like I said, I care about everybody. Even if you're a terrible person, I care about you on some level because I think that people like that are the most evil probably just have some kind of really bad chemical imbalance or miswiring in their brain at some point. And I don't obvious, but then that's the point, is I can feel a sense of care for humanity that is not devoid of the criticism that I hold for individuals. Yeah, like how does her being groomed have anything to do with Teddy Fresh? It was just so randomly mentioned. And that was kind of like I don't know if that was necessarily the biggest one because like the death of her family is obviously like a very heavy, those are all very heavy incidences to deal with. But she's trying to show like a level of credibility or something, but you're doing it through like your own individual experiences. Those things don't necessarily carry like weight into other people's experiences unless you're showing it like represented through like statistics or like something like that. You're kind of it, like it's your story and it's relevant to you, but it doesn't hold any relevancy to your like to some like weird implication you want to put onto somebody else, like until you've had that like that personal interaction with them. Because her point was people that were making jokes, they did want to do those things. Well, like you also didn't go into detail of like, I mean, and obviously you shouldn't have to, but you're not like really going into like what those jokes were necessarily, because the jokes Ethan was making were obviously these heinous, crass, like over the line far jokes. And I feel like that's probably a bit different than jokes they like people were making to her to try and groom her. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely she apologized more to her mic than she did to Ethan or Hila. Yeah, and that was another part that kind of bugged me, is she never wanted to even just, she could go like, I agree with that, I should do better, yeah, but she could never go like, I got that wrong. It was, I have to look into it more, I'd have to see more. Oh, Hassan said old enough to count, old enough to mount. I always knew Hannah Montana was a little slut or whatever. Oh, how old was Miley Cyrus at the time? What? Like, you can't just take any like little like. It was the whole thing was so weird. It was very off to me. No, yeah, this stain. I don't even know if this is the stain she was talking about. She said the one in the middle. I think there might be another stain here she was pointing to. Because Ethan said the white one, and she went. Because I think she said the empty one, so maybe she thought he meant this chair. Here, let me just look up stain in the transcript. No.
Stain on my couch, and it's bugging me so much.
What, the white one?
I'm like, I didn't really. The empty one. And there's like a tiny stain there that's bugging me.
Maybe she just can't point through the camera. Or maybe it's just a stained up couch. Who knows? If they were more heavy-handed and more aggressive in the conversation, they would have gotten a bunch of snark posts and like people going on Twitter and stuff saying that they were harassing this content creator or the smaller creator or something. And if they go too like loose with it, too loosey goosey, it really does come across like they weren't going hard enough. And I don't want to give them that criticism because I know it's a hard thing. It's a hard line to toe. But yeah, I do wish they would have come in a little more aggressive on a few of them. Maybe not aggressive, just a little more heavy-handed. Because yeah, like she didn't take anything back by the end of it. She, like, to me, it really did feel like she felt like it was just like, by the end of it, Ethan and her were just like, thanks for watching, everybody. So this is how you guys can see that you need to make sure that you do better on your research, really look into things. Like, that's really how it came across to me. Is like she felt like this was like just something they were doing together to show people how to research better. And like, I don't know. My theory is she was being bombarded with texts from her editor's researchers, and that's why she kept zoning out and staring off, and then she blamed the stain. I mean, she did keep looking at her phone over and over again and did at one point say that an editor texted her or something. And the other thing, too, is she kept blaming her editors. It's your content. That was another part that really bugged me. It's your content. Who gives a shit what your editors added in because it's added into your video? Did you not watch it all the way through first? Did you not go, yo, what the fuck's on his leg? Ooh. Say my bit rate's too high? I think we're good now. Let me know if the streams got weird or anything. I'm saying I have a good connection, but not a great connection. But like, if your editors are making decisions in your videos without your knowledge, then that should also be a criticism on your editor. And you shouldn't just go like, well, I'm not going to speak on what my editors have done. I'm not going to speak on anything that my editors add into my video, and I'm going to use the excuse of my editors adding it in whenever I feel confronted. Because then we're going to find out that she is actually the one that liked and saved and commented on a TikTok that was added that she claimed was an input from her editor. Oh, but it wasn't actually even my editor that did it. I didn't edit it. My editor didn't edit it. It was this poster that did it and zoomed in on your leg and made it look like that your tattoo was maybe actually just scratch marks and blood stains on your leg from using drugs. Yeah, she was like, I don't want to talk about my editors, and then proceeds to put them in a lot of situations, but it also shows how blindly she trusted them. Yeah, and that too. Like, are you just blindly trusting these people that are your editors? Why? You shouldn't. Girl, I'd be throwing those editors under the bus if they were real and made me look this bad. No, literally. Because it's like, are you going to keep using these editors? Are they going to keep, like, making these mistakes and making these issues for you? Because you did, like, a lot of these things were just so... I said it once and someone said it was a good word to use for her. Vapid is just such a good statement because that's how everything came across. The video itself, her response to the video, her conversation with Ethan. I don't know. Very odd. Yeah, like a company CEO blaming their workers. Well, that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it's your video. I'd be throwing him under the bus, being like, "Yo, what the fuck? I don't know. I honestly didn't think about it when watching it. This was something inputted by, like, this was something I put in by my editors. Yada yada yada. You know what I mean? Like, there's something to say there. But yeah, you are right that at the end of the day, it is your video. So regardless of how many editors she wants to fire, or how many like things she wants to take back, like she really did a bad job at like putting her best foot forward in the case of this video. I do feel like this girl has it in her to be embarrassed enough by what's happened to become a better person. I guess that's possible. She blamed the editor, and then Ethan showed the comment on that TikTok account. LOL. Yeah, no, exactly. Like she literally liked, saved, and she admitted to saving the video too. So she admitted to liking, saving, and commenting on the video, blamed its usage on an editor, and then when she couldn't blame the usage on the editor, she blamed it on the original creator of the video and really just hid behind, "I'm just showing what people are saying." It's just what people are saying. Yeah, you got to take accountability. I really don't. I just don't get it. Like I said, I didn't have much to talk about in this, to be completely honest. I mean, is there even any really good? Are there any really like? Are there really any good parts at all? Madison ruined Ethan in this debate when she barraged with a barrage of you knows and agains. Ooh, shout out Taylor H. Got the job. My my triple crossed fingers knocked on wood, and it worked. Remember that one. Remember that one, everybody. Do you think she called in from the only furnished room in her house? LOL. No, she said she was getting her kitchen remodeled. She was just using it for the blank wall. It's like when I did my video staring at a wall for 10 minutes. You know how hard it was to find a clear wall? I was in my restroom. I mean, I really don't even know what to say. I'm trying to think of more points to make, but I do think legitimately she honestly did the best argument she could make. It was the best argument. Hey, I'm just saying what people. I don't have an opinion. I didn't say CPS should be called on your kids. I didn't say that you're on drugs. I didn't say that you're crazy. I didn't say any of that. I'm just talking about what the internet's saying. Not gonna lie, I'm jealous of how much money she makes from sloppy content. No, I mean you gotta be at least. I mean, respect the grind at the end of the day, right? I wish Ethan asked her if she paid her editors. That would have been a good question to know. I mean, I'm sure she does. It's kind of hard to get editors that you don't pay. I feel like it's easier to get mods you don't pay. But like the editors for Hassan that are just spreading his stuff, he doesn't pay them, but they get paid from like the AdSense and stuff on the clips. But I mean, the fact that it's going on her channel, I would expect her to. If she didn't, that would be crazy. Yeah, weird to pay someone and not credit them. That's also fair. That you have an editor that you're like using consistently for your videos and you don't credit them in your videos. I do believe that she has editors though, because I mean, I guess it just depends, because I do believe she has editors purely because she said that they were texting her like in the moment. I feel like that would have been a weird lie to throw in there. You know what I mean? Like it would have been very odd to just randomly be like, "Oh, it's my editor," when it's like her husband or something. Like you could just be honest, like, "Oh, my husband's texting, my whatever's texting, my mom is texting." But yeah, I'm looking at our videos right now. There's no credit to anything. She has her Instagram put in. I wouldn't be surprised if she lied about it. I mean, I guess I'm going off of just like it is all speculation at the end of the day. She's not willing to name her editors. She could not. She could just not have editors too. That is also possible. That is completely true. But you know, you know, I think that it was a bad conversation. I've got to be completely honest. I don't even want to be like I can give credit to Ethan and Hila for trying to keep it civil. Because that's the thing. I think that their whole intention was to try and change her mind. They weren't trying to attack her. They weren't trying to get clips. They weren't trying to, you know, they wanted to see how hard it actually is to get someone to change their mind on something that's so blatantly untrue and factually like just provably false. And the truth is, it's fucking impossible. It's just like, and like I think that the problem is, and I said this in Girl with a Microphone's chat, and I don't think that I don't think it's true for all homeschooled kids. You know, people are getting upset because it's like you shouldn't be making fun of people who homeschool or people that were homeschooled. But I do think that there is like a social and again, that doesn't go for everybody. But if your parents do not focus on the social aspect of like schooling, then you will become socially stunted in certain aspects. But I do also believe that there is, at least to some extent, anchoring bias that is put into people who homeschool. And I don't think it's everybody. Again, I don't think that everybody does this. There are people that that know how to raise their kids. But the fact that she also said that her mom had her doing 6 hours of ballet, 6 hours of ballet a day. When was she doing school? Makes me believe that she probably wasn't being taught like critical thinking. And for people who don't know, anchor bias is like when people don't, it's like you get hooked on the first thing that you hear. So you hear something and then you like seek out information that confirms your bias, and then that anchors you in. So then you're anchored to whatever that first thought was, and then any kind of like counterclaims then kind of become an attack on you, and like kind of like an attack on this like idea that you believe to be true that you're unwilling to change your mind of. And I think people need to be, it's like, come on guys, we need our introspect back. We need to be introspective. We need to really use our brains and not just like allow ourselves to be caught up in the first things that we hear on either side. I'm actually kind of confused on the homeschooling timeline. We need another Nexium guy level interview. Watching that live was insane. It's obvious Ethan doesn't go into these convos trying to win a debate, but get a truth out there and change minds. Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the main thing that people forget is like, because there is like a way to just dunk on her, you know, just keep pulling up clips of like, oh, look, this is the truth, yada, boom, boom, boom. Just don't even let her get a word in edgewise. My anchor bias is that Cat in the Hat is a good movie. Yeah, and that's actually a perfect example though. Is like Cat in the Hat's a good movie. If you saw it when you were young, you're going to believe it's a good movie. But also like the whole idea of like the first time you heard a song, depending on if you heard the cover versus the original first, is going to anchor bias you to believe that is the better version. Like a lot of people believe I don't want to get the fucking name wrong. Man Who Sold the World, right? Yeah, okay. Man Who Sold the World. The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie, covered by Nirvana. Some people think that the Nirvana version's better, and a lot of the time those people heard that version first. honestly, I don't like the Nirvana version that much. I much prefer David Bowie's version of The Man Who Sold the World. But I think that's like a perfect example of anchor bias, is using like media and stuff. Also, she mentioned both her parents came from religious backgrounds but wasn't raised in any religion. That was a weird part to me. She clearly is thinking being Jewish is just religious. Yeah, I guess that part kind of went over my head a little bit. I guess I didn't think about that. They were talking about it in the aspect of like being Jewish, and there's like a cultural aspect there too. And she said like, oh, I wasn't born in a religion, and it's like, well, you don't need to be born in a religion to understand other religions either. Like even on that aspect, like even you don't need to be like born into a religion to. I would hope that your parents, as ex whatever they are, ex cultists, whatever you were saying, I would expect them to try and ingrain a better like a higher level of critical thinking into you, but it doesn't seem to be the case. That's a great song, and I'm a huge Nirvana head from the early 90s. See, I really like Nirvana, but specifically that song, I just don't. I think it's because I like the original. That's the thing. I heard the original first, and I like it a lot more. And that could just be my bias, because I actually do like Nirvana. See, I'm a skater. What does NBD mean? I'm a skater at heart. So whenever I see NBD, I think of it as never been done, because that's what you say for like skate tricks. Oh, that was an NBD. Like certain gaps and stuff. What does NBD mean? Play it NBD. OG fast car is the best. She made it sound like Ethan and Elo were super religious Jews. Yeah, oh, no big deal. Okay. No big deal NBD. Okay, thank you. I needed to know that. Um, but yeah, I do think that she. See, I think that she is plagued by anchor bias. Everybody, all the snarkers that hate Ethan Klein have to prove it, have to prove their bias, and like that is like because I have to say it's so much better. It's so much better to just be able to concede, concede a point, concede your argument at times. Let the weight off of your shoulders and understand that not everybody's perfect. Not everybody can be right all the time. Maybe you just need to do more research. Maybe they are wrong. You just don't know. But in the moment when proven wrong, concede. Concede. And then you can go out, take a breath of fresh air. I really had to think for a second. I thought I almost said fresh of breath air. Take a breath of fresh air, smell the roses, and move on with your life. There are so many new acronyms popping up. It makes me feel so old and dumb. '07 really confuses me. This was such a painful watch. It was such a painful watch. She clearly did no research, has no idea who Ethan and Elo are. I don't know what '07 means either. Is it just 6-7? I think it's crazy people are using TS as this. This has been shortened to TS. TS is this shit. Look at this shit. You go look at TS. Not look at this. That's like what you tell your mom when you're in like 5th grade. What does TS stand for? This. It's just short version, mom. Like, what? Please don't hit play cap. And that's kind of why I'm just clicking through it and talking about parts. Oh, '07 is a little guy doing a salute. Oh, I love that. I love that. '07 is dope. If you know, you know. IYKYK. LOLLMAO. Yes, 07's in chat. Salutes in chat. I'm glad we're getting back to emoticons. Fuck emojis. We're moving back to emoticons, guys. Yeah, like I said, there are enough people that I think have done coverage on her. I kind of just wanted to cover my 2 cents on the whole thing. I'm 25. I'm still hip and young. Yeah, I'm 24. Huh. WWJD. What would Jesus do? I know that one. I know emoticons never truly left. They've always been here. Always has been. But it is just kind of interesting. I feel like they've picked up a little bit. I'm 38 and pick this shit up so quick, I have to explain them to my Gen Z sister. Ethan Klein was in the YMCA. So true. See, 6'7" is a guy going like this. Six seven's just that. It's a guy going like that. Now we know. Interesting. I don't think it's actually some sort of salute. It's just a dumb meme based on a song about robbing people, I think. What I don't know. It's either robbing or shooting people. Oh, a car break-in. Oh, but specifically smashing the car window, so bipping. Okay. Because in the song it's 6'7". I just bipped right on the highway. 6'7". Oh my god. 187 is murder. Is 187? I thought 187 was murder. Yeah, well, 187 refers to murder in California Penal Code. I know that because that's like what that's what a lot of rappers say. 187. 187 shit. There was a rapper from Nevada called Zodiac. He's still a rapper. I don't know why I said was. I used to listen to him when I was like, I learned about him through skating because this YouTuber Louis Mora, is that it? Luis Mora, something like that. But he had his song, and he used to say 187 shit, which just means murder shit. See what's 420 though? 420 meaning. Origin. What's the 420 origin? See, I've heard that it's a penal code before too. That's what my dad told me. Apparently coined as a code. Okay, wait, no. But that okay. So it was coined as a. See, that's what my dad told me. I was like, I don't think that's true. But apparently it was coined by students in San Rafael, California. Raphael? Is it just Raphael? In reference to 4:20 p.m., the time in which they would regularly met to try and locate an unattended plot of cannabis plants. Oh. There's a documentary on 420. Interesting. Learned 187 from Sublime. Don't get murked. So true. See, that one just sounds so like... I think you can kind of use context clues to understand that one. Raphael. Yes, 80085. You sent me a meme? Spot the difference. Spot the difference. What do we think? You posted this, Alex? Nice. Gotta give it an upvote. The top left is Ian from Smosh. No. Oh no. No, that's Destiny, but now I'm always gonna think that. So we got Destiny, Anthony, Millhouse, Hassan, Bonerlocks, and Alex the Fiction. Alex the Fictional. Alex the Fake, the Fraud. No, that's definitely Ian from Smosh. No. We need a website to sort this out. Does this mean Hassan is Turkish Destiny? That's also possible. Nah, Turkish iDubbbz just sounds so good. I still haven't pulled it. I need to pull Turkish iDubbbz. That's so funny. Oh my god. The Turkish iDubbbz. I have 4 brother husbands. I mean, I think you guys would get along. Alex, what do you think? Alex, if you had to spend a day on a desert island with one of these people, who would it be, Alex? Does Bonerlocks come with cream cheese or not? It's kind of up to you. It's optional. Turkish iDubbbz was something iDubbbz said. I need to find it. He was saying it ironically because I think he understands that it was really dumb that he said that. That he said the white Hassan. At least I hope so. Guys, this is big news. Ian's newest podcast. I'm listening to this. I'm so listening to this later. Ian, not iDubbbz, good Ian, on the porch with Ian, dropped a new podcast 40 minutes ago with internet comment etiquette, Eric. I'm excited to see. Big news. Nah, this is such a big W, I have to say. I think I'd chill out with, I mean, I feel like I'd bore Loner Box. He'd get bored, he'd get annoyed. So I think I'd probably choose Anthony as well. If I didn't have the option of Alex, obviously. If I had to choose from these, I'd have to go with Ian from Smosh. That would be my go. Who's Destiny? I love Smosh. It's one of my favorite channels growing up. Big Money Salvia, for real. Oh, I thought that was still up. It wasn't it. On the porch with Ian. Pull it up one more time.
Back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s. Big Money Salvia. Miss him still. And we looked at that one, and then all I had, the other thing I wanted to look at was this. Hassan calls the USA defeating the Soviet Union unfortunate. We are the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Done.
What do you think it means that this guy ran as a socialist and anti-communism didn't work to stop him? That's big.
Yeah, I think we are in the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately.
I mean, first of all, like the USSR just kind of like crumbled. It wasn't like a military defeat or something. Like, yeah, it was an arms. I guess like if you want to be like the arms race kind of made it, and like the space race kind of in like you know, if you want to use that as your element. I think that Hassan really is just like, maybe he has anchoring bias, because like the USSR wasn't that great even after they got rid of gulags. Yeah, the fucking the education rates went up, and like they had their science like that they came out with was really good, and they had like different, like there were like good things that came out of the USSR after they got rid of gulags. I just want to I want to make that kind of our thing, but they still had the fucking KGB and like fuck. It's like, it's just a stupid point to make. Bro was born in New Jersey. Cringe. The commies claim the CIA took USSR out. Is that the CIA? What, they made Gorbachev resign? I had to make sure. I was like, didn't Gorbachev like resign on TV to everybody? Yeah, 1991, December 25th. The CIA did it, like always.
And the reality of the matter is, there's a lot of
USSR made banger film lens. Yeah, no, like that's the thing. Like they had good things that came out of it because they were trying to like reclaim socialism after they had fucking gulags. Like, of course they were trying to bring like this like the humanities or whatever out. It's just such like a funny fucking like, come on. Like, we have to take the good and the bad. And like, yeah, America's had a lot of bad too. Like, we had internment camps. But that also didn't run for as long as they had fucking gulags. And I think we can all point out that the internment camps were bad too. They were fucking horrible. But just going like, we're in the imperial core right now. That's why I bought tickets.
Of antagonism. There's no class consciousness in the United States of America. It's one of the things that I try to address every day with my commentary. And I will say this. The conditions...
But imagine if it was the CIA that did it. Is your system not shit for failing like that? I mean, obviously, like, the CIA did have, like, you know, they were doing their ops. They were doing their spec ops, trying to get information on different things. Like, there's, like, a whole thing about how they had information on, why can't I remember his name now? Who shot Kennedy? Lee Harvey Oswald. Like, they had information about Oswald going to, like, talking to socialists in Cuba or something. It was something like that. Like, there is like information about that that's come out. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was like an inside job or anything like that. Just that they were already like, they already had like a intel on different goings on. It like, that's the thing is, honestly, if you look into like the history and like the unclassified, like the classified documents that have come out through FOIA and stuff, like there's a lot of crazy shit in there. Like when you look into like the just anything, honestly, just go to any of the fucking FOIA documents and they're all kind of insane. Mandela effect, the USSR never disbanded. So true. Yeah, he acts like he's in his own fucking rally. I'm 100% a narcissist. I mean, yeah, the energy he gives off is always that. And I don't want to say that it's also because he's talking to women, but I feel like he also puts it on a little bit heavier when there's women around. He's always trying to speak it up. Can we also say it's so cringe when Hassan fucking retweets like clips of himself? You're like, I saw a post on the subreddit of him retweeting someone talking about him in a clip, and then he gave like some fucking like some pontification basically in a tweet, and it was just like, bro, come on.
Have deteriorated so much that everyday Americans, in spite of their lack of class consciousness, are finally arriving at the conclusion that perhaps there is an alternative out there. There is an alternative that focuses on them as opposed to the interests of the billionaires and the millionaires, as opposed to the interests of the capital owners. And I mean, you can't help but notice that. You can't help but feel at least a little bit of excitement around that.
And also the significance.
Great stuff, Hassan. Great stuff. Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't. It's just Hassan makes no sense to me. This was funny too, though. Hassan gets denied VIP seating at Zoran Mamdani election party. Zoran?
I do not have you for the upstairs list.
Okay.
Can I see your ticket tape?
Oh, I'm staff.
Oh,
escorting him.
okay. Oh, okay. If you're
So we can't
escorted?
go upstairs.
I do not. But do you have this wristband? I can also just check. Chat.
Well, so I thought movement builders could go upstairs, no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I can double check and just make sure
Upstairs
on my
just
end.
more seating area.
Yeah, I just wanted a drink. I'm good. But there's 72,000 people watching
Oh, great.
currently.
I don't get why he says he is a nobody or just a random dude, but then also acts like he can't deal with other stuff or criticism because of what he does, who he is. Yeah, but no, but he doesn't even care. See, didn't you just see that clip, bro? He doesn't even care. It's not a big deal. He's like, whatever, whatever, man. It's nothing. Wait, so Zoran doesn't want to talk to me, bro? Okay, whatever. Does Hassan even drink? Is there evidence? See, people were making fun of Hassan because he doesn't listen to music. I actually have known someone in my life that doesn't listen to music. But to be fair, he actually does listen to music. He just doesn't listen to like any type of mainstream music. He only listens to OSTs. And if Hassan had that as like his thing, okay, that would make sense. But no music at all is a little weird. He added the viewer count to see if they changed their mind about not letting him in. I didn't even notice that, to be honest. That's pretty funny. It just shows his, like, I don't like calling him a narcissist, you know, that's maybe that could be unfair, but there's definitely some narcissistic tendencies at the very least, right? I think that's fair to say.
I do not have you for the upstairs list.
Okay.
Can I see your ticket tape?
Oh, I'm staff. I'm escorting him.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're
So we can't
escorted?
go upstairs.
I do not. But do you have this wristband? I can also just check. Chat.
Well, so I thought movement builders could go upstairs, no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I can double check and just make sure
Upstairs
on my
just
end.
more seating area.
Yeah, I just wanted a drink. I'm good. But there's 72,000 people watching.
Oh, great.
I didn't even notice that at the end. I see when he said that, I was focused on this because I thought this was so dumb.
72,000 people watching.
Oh, great.
This in the corner. Like, who's making the... Okay, if your fans want to make this stuff, that's one thing. Adding it into your own...
72,000
Adding it into your own streams is a little much.
people watching.
Oh, great.
Currently.
Hey, I might not be on the list, but what about the 72,000 people watching, huh? My name might not be on the list. But what about the 72,000 people that are watching me live? Failed flex, douche chills. She said, "Yeah, no, don't care." Oh yeah, so crazy. Whoa. Is Hassan wearing flood trousers? I don't know. He has something tucked into boots. Oh, you mean like high rise? He might be, actually. It doesn't look like they're tucked into the boots. I thought they were for a second. But I think they do cut off above the boot line. Interesting. Okay, well that was basically all I had to talk about in relation to H3 stuff for today. And then I have one video that I want to get to, but I want to start off by talking about this a little bit, because I don't need to pull it here. I'll just pull up the video first to have it up. Close the rest of this stuff. And then I have a document. I'm still going through all of it. It has different... basically, what I want to do is, over the next month, through November, there is the holiday of the United States holiday of Thanksgiving. And so I would like to actually take the time to look into the actual Indigenous Americans who, across the North, Central, and South America, that has, that was displaced and destroyed at times. And so I've kind of picked out some certain things, because obviously, like I said, in Canada, there's like over 600 tribes that are recognized. In America, or in America, I always say that, in the United States, in the United States, there's over 500 tribes that are recognized. There's like a couple hundred in different South American countries. Like in Brazil, I think there's like almost 200 or something. And then there, you get what I'm saying. There's a lot. There's too many to go over all of them. But the whole thing is about going over some of these different cultures, because also, even those tribes aren't the total number of tribes. Like, there's 570 tribes in the United States that are recognized by the United States government, but those are not the totality of tribes that there are. Like, I know that there are a lot in, like, throughout, like, Appalachia and stuff too that aren't recognized. I think there's like one that's literally like in Washington that isn't in Washington D.C. that isn't recognized, or something like that. I live in Okanagan. Our history is crazy cool. We got Ogopogo. That's really great, Cap, and I'm very excited. So today we are just going to look at Pocahontas, because like I'm saying, I'm doing my own kind of research first to kind of have a lot to talk about, and I feel like Pocahontas is a good way to kind of step into it, because it's a story that all of us know, and a lot of us know like the true story of as well, and I think touching on it is a good way to kind of kick things off. But then I have stories from individuals like Black Elk, Cheek. I didn't say the racial slur there. I said cheek, which almost sounds like chic a little bit. But I meant Chief Joseph, Nanyehi, Galvarino, and then battles like Wounded Knee. I actually started listening to the book. Oh my god, I can't remember what the book title is. I started listening to it on Spotify for about the battle, the massacre of Wounded Knee. And it's very interesting. The Pueblo Revolt, the race of the bison, or the races for bison, King Philip's War, and then spiritual religion and cosmology. I wanted to spirituality, religion, and cosmology. I have the Ghost Dance movement, Sweat Lodge traditions, Navajo, Dene. I think it's Hozo, I think it is. Which is a balance, beauty, and ethical cosmology. And then some stuff about tribal differences I'd like to talk about a little bit, like, the difference in like the woodlands versus the plains, the Amazonian societies. What else? We have laws, treaties, policy, and colonial systems. A lot of them will probably get overlapped in, multiple in the same stream, but then I'm going to try and cut them into videos as well. And this isn't going to end at November. What I would like to do is kind of extend this out into my other streams as we continue. You know, I'm not just talking about indigenous peoples, but just doing more learning about stuff and sharing what I'm learning. I think that would be a lot of fun. You should look into reading the book The Land of Open Graves. Here, I'll write that down actually. We read it in my intro to Anthro class a couple years ago, or we read it. A very good book. Okay, I'll look into that for sure. But like I said, I think that genuinely it's like there's too much stuff. History is too long to get through in a month. So what I want to do is kind of history is one thing that I've always been interested in, and so I kind of want to take that step to each month has different things that go on, different holidays that are celebrated, different groups that are appreciated through different months. So it'd be good to kind of break down the histories of these different topics a little bit. Alex the Fiction said, "Sounds gay, Captain." What do we think of that? The true story is the Disney movie, right? Well, let's take a look. So this is Pocahontas, the tragic true story. It's interesting because Pocahontas 2 actually does kind of lead into somewhat of the real story, but a complete bastardization of it in a way, which is kind of even more crazy, I think.
In the famous Disney song, Pocahontas sang "Colors of the Wind," and we learned that everyone can get along despite their cultural differences. While the intent behind the movie...
This is in my wheelhouse, Captain. I have a master's in multicultural and transnational literature. Then please, keep me honest, correct me when wrong, correct me on my sources, too, if things I'm pulling from seem a bit off. And that goes to anybody out there. I'm not gonna hate you for telling me that I'm wrong about stuff. The whole thing is about learning and about sharing knowledge, you know, and sharing kind of topics that might stimulate you enough to go look into it more yourself too. Because I think that's the thing. Obviously, I'm going to be looking into other stuff offline that I might not share here, depending on like the, you know, individual cases. British Vsauce, so true. Oh, Pride Minute? Sorry, we got to give it Pride Minute real quick. And go. I don't have any flags to throw up. Pride Minute, go. It's going still. Pride flag. I don't know if this is the updated one. I don't know if this is the updated one. I could be wrong. Woo! We still have like 30 seconds. See, be prideful. Everybody be happy. Be happy, everybody. Be prideful. Be proud of yourself. You all do great. I'm super happy for all of you and everything that you've done. Captain, real quick, I'm having trouble with the members Discord. Could I get you or Alex to help me with it? My YouTube is connected. Okay, yeah. If you can send me a message on Instagram or just a direct message on Discord, if you can find it, it's literally the same thing. Then I'll help you with it later. Stop. I think that's time. Stop. 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 I'm playing game music in my head. Perfect. I'm glad I caught that. But yes, you can send me a message on Instagram and I'll help you out with that. So other people, there are some issues sometimes. Discord and YouTube have a weird relationship. You can't stop my pride. No more pride. Pride cometh before the fall. Don't forget what Jordan Peterson told us. He quoted the Bible, and the Bible's true. Let me into the Discord. Do you... Okay, Rumtum Tugger messaged me too, because you're a member too, so you should have access. Sometimes you need to, like, literally unlink your account and then relink it, and then it'll give you the things. It's really weird. But if you're already able to get into other Discords, I can honestly just send you a link if you if there's an issue. But there's a Discord for members. Sorry, I don't have it like Guam or anybody right now. I guess I could make it just public, but I kind of like having it for members right now. It makes sense to me. I guess I could just move up the... I could have specific tiers be available to specific... It doesn't matter right now. Become a member today. Mostly the Discord's used to send me topics that you think would be interesting for me to talk about, giving me suggestions. There isn't too much going on in terms of the community, which I would like to grow. So please, become a member today. Don't you need a link to the Discord? Usually when you become a member, if you have your YouTube linked to it, it will automatically connect your memberships to whatever Discords they have it linked to. So like I have my Discord linked through YouTube, so it should connect if you have your YouTube connected, but sometimes you have to disconnect YouTube, then reconnect it, and then it'll allow you into the Discord. But if that doesn't work, then like I said, message me on Instagram or directly on Discord, and then I can send you a direct link. But I will be checking who's a member. But let's start this video. I'll deal with this on the side. Oh wait, actually, let me make sure. Okay, I thought for a second my Discord was pulled up on the wrong screen. Didn't want to.
In the famous Disney song, Pocahontas sang Colors of the Winds, and we learned that everyone can get along despite their cultural differences. While the intent behind the movie may have been good, it's nowhere near being historically accurate. The true story, it's much darker, and for some of you out there, this video might just ruin some of your childhood memories, because today we're looking at the true story of Pocahontas. The first thing you should know about Pocahontas is that her birth name was not Pocahontas. Native Americans have a unique tradition when it comes to someone's name and identity. Children are given a name.
I have to say, I don't know if it's necessarily the best, it was made with the best intention, to be completely honest. Like, it was made to make money off of the story. I don't know if, like, I understand that, like, a lot of, like, Native people, Indigenous people, like it because it was like the first representation they got to see in movies, and so I understand that aspect of it too, and so I think that is also something to think about. But the fact that they didn't do like as critical of a take as they could does also speak for something, I think.
Name at birth, and it often changes as the person grows up and the family learns more about their personality. At birth her name was Amanut, and as she grew older she was developing into a...
This guy needs to be less posh. Maybe a little bit. I like it.
True beauty, so her father gave her the new name Matoka, which means...
Her father gave her the new name Matoka. So I can't do it that well. See, when I try and do... See, I feel like when I try and do a posh British accent, it comes out as like transatlantic almost. Because that's like an... I feel like that's a lot easier.
Means the flower between two streams. She was a part of the Powhatan.
The flower between two streams. Wow. She was Powhatan, yes.
And tribe of Eastern Virginia, which had a population of over 25,000 people. They were broken into roughly 30...
This channel did a Jimmy Lee episode? You're fucking kidding. I'm gonna subscribe if that's true. You're joking right now. Why would you lie to me? Or is it called the Jersey Outlaw? The Jersey Outlaw. No, okay. You scared me. I subscribed anyway. This seems like good content, but I like biographics. These are kind of short, so.
Smaller tribes which were governed by respected village leaders. Pocahontas' father, who's... It's Wahoo-Senecor, maybe? It's spelled like this. He was one head chief who was above all other tribal leaders, and he was known as Honorable Chief Powhatan. The Powhatan people had a tradition where one woman from each tribe was sent to become one of the...
Yeah, you did get me. I wish it was one on Jimmy Lee. That would be... I mean, it would fit right in, right? Right next to, John Candy, Humphrey Bogart, the greats. Johnny Carson, Jimmy Lee. Right there, right in the middle. Or actually put him next to Christopher Reeves.
Wives of the chief Powhatan. Women came of age at 14 years old, and they often found a husband soon after that. So it's likely they would also be around this age when they were chosen. Once the young woman gave birth to his baby and weaned them, she could leave the child to be raised by the chief and go back to her home village to get married and start her own family. While it sounds like a frightening prospect for the modern world, this was considered to be a huge honor. Only the most beautiful and intelligent girls were...
I mean, one interesting aspect of it is I would be interested to know what their life expectancy was at the time. Because, yeah, it does seem crazy, but I mean, yeah, that was kind of commonplace for many, especially tribal peoples. I feel like tribes do that. Because, like he's saying, I'm not even just talking about, like, the age range, but also having, like, I guess not even a lot, because we've talked, like, there's so many tribes. But I have heard that before about having like the chiefs or other people raise the children, and it's almost like bred as cattle in a sense, where like your children are more part of the tribe than your children. But I don't know if that's necessarily what they're saying here.
Chosen to have children with the chief so that they could pass on the best traits of the tribe together. These children of the chief were given special training and often grew up to be the next generation of leaders in the community. There was one wife who had a special place in the chief's heart. He gave her the nickname Pocahontas, which means the playful one. When he was raising her daughter, Amanut, he noticed that the girl's personality was almost exactly like her mother. He started to call her Pocahontas as well because they were so much alike. There is no historic record of what happened to her mother, but most historians believe that she must have died during childbirth. As a young girl, Matoka would run through the forest and climb trees and do cartwheels. She was always laughing and smiling, ready and willing to play with her dozens of half-siblings. Her mother's name, it truly did suit her, so at age 14, when she went through her coming-of-age ceremony, she chose to officially change her name to Pocahontas. In the early 1600s, crews of British explorers gathered supplies on their ships and sailed towards the New World. Once they arrived, they founded the Jamestown colony in 1607. One of these explorers was a man named John Smith, who was dubbed the President of Virginia and Admiral of New England. He would later publish a book bragging about his adventures, which many modern-day historians know is just mostly fiction. Smith claims that soon after he arrived in Virginia, he was captured by a man named Open-Chanukaka, and he was tied up and paraded around all 30 villages. Then he was brought to Chief Wahoo Seneca, who ordered his execution. Apparently, he accepted his fate with dignity, but just as his head was about to be smashed on a rock, a beautiful girl named Pocahontas comes to his rescue, begging her father for mercy. According to him, she said that if he must...
Did you see when Dan accidentally made fun of a Native American name and then looked embarrassed when he found out I did not say? If you could send me a clip of that, that would be amazing. But I do not remember that.
Killed John Smith, then she should die as well. He goes on to talk about their new...
What, did he hit like a, what, your name is Wasu Chenica? What?
Found friendship. Kinda sounds like the Disney movie, right? But most historians agree that this sounds completely ridiculous for so many reasons. First of all, Pocahontas would have only been 9 or 10 years old at the time, and John Smith was 27. Children were never allowed to be near anything as brutal as a trial or an execution. The story also paints the Native Americans as being savage and willing to kill anyone without a valid reason. The true story is that in 1608, the Jamestown colonists were starving because they had run out of supplies. Instead of trying to negotiate a fair trade, John Smith ordered his men to attack the tribal villages and steal whatever they could. He would also set fires and demanded that they give in to his demands. However, the weakened colonists were no match for the tribe, so many of the white men were killed or taken prisoner. John Smith was their leader, and he begged the chief to spare his life. Chief Powhatan chose to have mercy on John Smith without Pocahontas being involved at all. Later...
But that doesn't sound cool. He begged for his life. He didn't want to seem like a pussy.
John Smith would spot the beautiful little girl playing with her friends. When he found out that Pocahontas was the chief's favorite daughter, he made a mental note of it and filed that away for later. When she was 14 or 15 years old, Pocahontas married a young man named Kokum, who was the brother of one of the village leaders known as Japasaw. She moved to this new place to be with her husband, and this village was much closer to Jamestown than where she grew up. The news of this new princess moving into the tribe's village spread, so even the colonists, they knew of Pocahontas' arrival. John Smith also remembered from years before that she was the chief's favorite. In the summertime, the Native Americans would walk around naked when it got too hot outside. To them, there was nothing sexual or explicit about it. They were all just people trying to keep cool. But to the English settlers in Jamestown, this was shocking, and considering that many of these were men who already saw the natives as less than human, and they hadn't been with a woman in a very long time, well, you can guess what happened. Women and children were taken from their homes, and they were violated. In Powhatan culture, if a man committed sexual assault, the rapist was immediately sentenced to death. As soon as they see that someone is a rapist or a murderer, they're gone. There's no rehabilitation. They simply will never pass on their DNA. It's just sorted. This made the crime extremely rare. In England, though, men got away with rape all the time. Women were often accused of lying unless there was a witness, which, of course, there almost never was. Even if the man was caught, the punishments were far from a death sentence. So the Powhatans, they interpreted this as an act of war, and they were ready to attack.
I mean, I couldn't see how they would interpret it any other way, to be completely honest. I don't know if, you know, I'm always in favor of rehabilitation, but I gotta say, in this instance, I don't blame them for their for being a bit upset and acting out in that way. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Attack Jamestown, and thus
insurance company for the at-fault driver. They're not your friend. I had a client who was 18 years old.
Stop it. There we go. The court documents. Attorney and activist Chase Iron Eyes. What the fuck? His name is Iron Eyes? What is this, a Marvel?
Chase Iron Eyes.
It's a Marvel film?
Oh, Chase Iron Eyes. Yeah, that is... yeah, that's just, you've never heard like a Native American name.
Why is everyone gotta be...
Yeah, I had to double check that.
Wait, who is Chase Iron Eyes? I gotta see what he looks like. Is he wearing like a... Oh my god. Wait. Is he Native American? Oh, he's Native American. Yeah. Okay. That explains. Sorry. That's actually legit. Sorry, everybody.
I mean, it's a badass name.
No, it's sick.
Chase Iron Eyes.
And his wife, Sarah Jumping Eagle. Shout out those. I'll tell you what, Native Americans, they fucking know.
Here's the thing, if they read Jumping Eagle first, they probably would have like read it as Native American. But hearing Iron Eyes is kind of more because I feel like it is usually, though that's an adjective and a noun. I feel like they usually use verbs too. But I guess it probably depends on the tribe. This shit's hilarious. Yeah, no, I mean, you can't blame him, right? It's Chase Iron Eyes. I think I've seen him in something else. Right? That name just sounds familiar. Oh yeah, it's this guy. It's fucking what's his name? Do I literally just know him from Instagram? Oh, I think I literally just know his Instagram page. Never mind.
Began the film. They interpreted this as an act of war, and they were ready to attack Jamestown. And thus began the First Anglo-Powhatan War. Meanwhile, Pocahontas was now 16 years old and heavily pregnant. The white men in Jamestown devised a plan that they would kidnap her and use her as leverage to stop Chief Powhatan from completely obliterating the colony. Pocahontas had just given birth to her first baby. She would have been in the care of the tribal women.
Yeah, Chase just seems like a white dude's name too. Yeah, I guess.
and away from her husband, Cocoon. Soon after delivering her child, a white man named Captain Samuel Argall snuck into Pocahontas' tent in the middle of the night and kidnapped her. Physically weak and...
I mean, I guess... Maybe that's the verb?
Recovering from giving birth, Pocahontas didn't stand a chance.
Sorry, let me rewind it a little bit. We're going off on tangents a little bit.
A white man named Captain Samuel Argall snuck into Pocahontas' tent in the middle of the night and kidnapped her. Physically weak and recovering from giving birth, Pocahontas didn't stand a chance at defending herself. In his book, John Smith described the scene of Pocahontas being carried to the Englishman's massive ship. She had never seen this technology before, so she was screaming in horror as her abductors forced her inside. There was a jail cell in the bottom of Captain Argall's boat, which is where they locked her up. In this version of the story, John Smith blamed everything on the Native Americans. He wrote that the Powhatan had stolen their weapons and supplies from Jamestown, and they were using Pocahontas as leverage to broker a peace treaty. Even though he writes about her distress, he never goes into further detail about what happened to her. According to the Native Americans' oral history, Pocahontas' husband, Cocoon, heard the news that she had been kidnapped. Cocoon galloped towards Jamestown the next day, killing men with his arrows as he went. He made it all the way to Captain Argall's ship, but he was gunned down before he could save her. John Smith wrote that they kept Pocahontas while they waited for payment from Chief Powhatan. He says, "We received part of the payment and returned her father this answer, that his daughter should be well used, but we could not believe the rest of our arms were either lost or stolen from him, and therefore, till he sent them, we would keep his daughter." So basically, this guy is justifying kidnapping a teenage girl and blackmailing her father, and somehow the English thought this was totally acceptable when they read it in his book. Of course, those weapons never came because they'd never been stolen in the first place. Pocahontas eventually fell into a state of depression. We know from the Native American oral history that she stopped eating because she missed her family so much. The colonists needed to keep her alive for leverage, so her sister was finally allowed to visit. When the two women were allowed to speak, Pocahontas told her that she was being raped by the crew of the ship on a regular basis. She begged to come home, but the Englishmen were refusing to let her leave, unless her father promised to give them weapons and supplies and sign a peace treaty. But of course, Chief Wahasenekwa was never going to stop the war until he got his daughter back.
Oh, accidentally deleted. I'll just do that. Oopsie. Sorry, Squishy Squank. Or Squonk. Squishy Squonk. Yeah, don't worry.
Records show that the first Anglo-Powhatan...
Isn't there another John?
War lasted from 1610 to 1614, but the timeline of events gets a blurry. According to John Smith, Pocahontas was only on the ship for 3 months, but if you actually think about it logically, she must have been kept prisoner for at least a year, if not longer. Some records claim that she was kidnapped near the beginning of the war in 1610, while others say that it happened in 1613. This is also why many history books are fuzzy about her exact age and date of birth, because there are so many conflicting stories of exactly what happened. What we do know for certain is that during her time as a prisoner, Pocahontas became pregnant by one of the men. Now that there was a child on the way, the men could no longer hide the fact that she had been raped in captivity. It would seem then that there was no hope in negotiating a peace treaty. They needed to come up with a plan to cover up their crimes. This is where John Rolfe enters the picture.
John Rolfe, that was it. I knew there was a second John. And this is where, like, the Pocahontas 2 kind of story, it's kind of like, it's just so odd. It's literally just so weird. Like, to have kind of that angle, like, toyed with, it just does feel like a bastardization in the Disney film at a certain point.
Picture. He is credited for being the first man to bring tobacco farming to the Jamestown colony. He was able to build a sustainable business for the colonists and make a profit by growing tobacco and shipping it to England. Since there was so much land in this new world, tobacco became a booming business. So if you don't already hate his guts by the end of this story, you can basically blame him for bringing bad smoking habits and lung cancer to the Western world. Rolfe was a widower in his 40s. He was friends with all of those men who were keeping Pocahontas prisoner, and he may have been one of the rapists as well. He offered to take one for the team and marry her. The only trouble was that an English person could not marry a Native American because they were considered less than human. Pocahontas was forced to go through a Christian baptism because it was the only way that they would even consider that she might have a human soul. She was baptized in the Anglican Church and given a new English name, Rebecca.
Yeah, but times back then were awful, still are, but a little less. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the point of this is it's going to be somewhat sad at a certain point. Like it is really depressing, but I do think that it's necessary to know our history, not just for like and not just to like feel bad, because obviously there's something to feel bad about just innately, but I think that it's also just to become more knowledgeable about the peoples overall that had this happen to them. You know, you got to learn history to avoid it repeating itself.
Shortly after her baptism, she was forced to marry John Rolfe. Now that Rolfe and Pocahontas were married,
yeah, Rebecca's crazy.
They sealed the deal. The colonists claimed that the two had fallen in love. Once Chief Seneca saw that his daughter was safe and apparently happy, the peace treaty was finally negotiated. This became known as the Peace of Pocahontas because from that day onward, the Jamestown colonists and the Powhatan tribe were finally able to stop fighting, if only for a few years. Even though her father had agreed to the peace treaty in the hopes of getting her back, she was never allowed to see her family again. Once she was married to John Rolfe, Pocahontas was forced to begin a new life in England. The Powhatan people had a tradition of tattooing their bodies. Even the women had face tattoos, which led some people to believe that Pocahontas may have had them as well. But since women were so covered up in England back then, it may have been easy to hide her ink. From the perspective of the English people, this was a wonderful love story. Two people from vastly different cultures were able to fall in love in the new world where anything can happen. But of course, not everyone was drinking the Kool-Aid. During an interview, someone asked John Rolfe if he truly loved her. Normally, if someone asks you to prove your love for your significant other, maybe you'd start gushing about all of their wonderful qualities. But John Rolfe responded that if he was actually trying to take advantage of a teenager, he would have chosen a white girl who was more pleasing to the eye. Despite all the glaringly obvious issues with a 40-year-old marrying a 17-year-old, this narrative that Pocahontas was choosing a white husband and converting to Christianity was also a sign to white people that maybe these natives weren't so savage after all. They became so popular that people wanted to start making souvenirs of their union. Portraits were even painted and sold of Pocahontas and John Rolfe. These happy stories became so popular in English culture that their fictional romance was published in newspapers everywhere, and it even inspired the Disney movie Pocahontas 2. John Rolfe claims that the unborn child was his, of course, and when Pocahontas gave birth to a son, who they named Thomas Rolfe, he was also baptized as a Christian. Legally speaking, John Rolfe was taking all of the responsibility as a father. He signed his name on both their marriage certificate as well as on Thomas's birth certificate. John Rolfe got to enjoy Pocahontas' newfound fame and popularity as she was invited to the best parties in the country and she became a household name. Portraits were commissioned of her wearing the traditional European clothing and she learned how to speak fluent English. She was forced to style her hair and wear makeup like an Englishwoman and completely conform to their society. Everyone now called her Rebecca Rolfe instead of her chosen name. Despite the fact that she was a woman who had been abused and taken from her home, Pocahontas handled her new duty as a diplomat with grace. She was representing the Powhatan people and everyone called her the Indian Princess. Pocahontas was incredibly polite to all of these new English people and represented her tribe to the best of her ability. After meeting Queen Anne and King James, their view of Native Americans had completely changed. They could see that these people actually did have souls and they began to push for a more peaceful coexistence between the colonists of the New World and the natives. A few months after arriving in England, John Smith finally stopped by for a visit. By now, Pocahontas had learned of all the fictional stories he had written about having a relationship with her. In fact, she had thought John Smith was dead after he was arrested for what he had done to their villages. She had no idea that he had used her name to create a fictional universe where her entire tribe was full of savages and she was the one person who had a hope of having a soul. He created a best-selling book based on these lies that was stained with the blood of the innocent. Seething with rage, Pocahontas confronted John Smith. She told him that he was exploiting her family for the sake of his own glory. She said, "Your countrymen will lie much." As we mentioned earlier, John Rolfe owned a tobacco farm in Virginia, but he lived in England and managed the incoming shipment of his product. Rolfe's ships were going back and forth to Virginia on a regular basis, and Pocahontas begged him to let her return home on one of them. The better she got at speaking English, the more dangerous it became for the men who captured her and lied about it. As time went on, it became possible that she would eventually expose the truth. So in 1617, when their son was 2 years old, he finally agreed to bring them back to visit her family. Not long after they set sail, Pocahontas contracted a mysterious illness and died while on the boat. While there is no record of what killed her, most assumed that it must have been one of the many illnesses that the English had built up an immunity to. At the time, no one dared suggest that it might have been foul play. When she died, they turned the ship around and returned to England. Pocahontas was buried in St. George's Church in Gravesend. Rolfe could have afforded to give his wife the best funeral money could buy, but she was given a pauper's burial in an unmarked grave. Young Thomas was sick with the same illness that had killed his mother. Instead of helping to nurse his son back to health and help him cope with the trauma of losing his mother, John Rolfe left him with some random dude called Sir Lewis Starkley and sailed back to Virginia, because if we know anything about modern times, it's that leaving...
That is even crazier. So, like, he could have taken his son to go meet his, his people. And he's like, nah, fuck you. Go off. Because it probably wasn't even his son. He just claimed him for the, oh my god, for the, like, diplomacy. Fucking insane. Oh my god, that's actually just...
Leaving kids to live with strange men on their own has always worked out perfectly fine. Thomas made a full recovery, but it was clear that John Rolfe no longer wanted anything to do with him. In his mind, he knew that the boy probably wasn't his biological son anyway, and it would seem as if he felt no fatherly love towards him at all. John's brother, Henry Rolfe, finally learned that his nephew was being watched over by this Stuckley guy, and he quickly jumped in to take custody of the boy. Henry was shocked by his brother's cold-heartedness and willingness to abandon his own son with a complete stranger. Even though John Rolfe was wealthy from tobacco farming, he refused to give any money to his brother for child support. Henry Rolfe actually had to sue John in court, demanding that his nephew be...
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Ethan. Like, marriage and birth certificate, hearing about, like, custody battles, dishing out in court about Pocahontas' son. It's a little bit odd to think about, but it's like, obviously they did have that stuff back then, but hearing about it is kind of crazy. That is insane. But also, like, why would he give a fuck? If he didn't care about his son so much so that he left him with somebody random, why wouldn't he allow his brother to, like, true piece of shit?
Left with something. John Rolfe never had any other descendants, so when he died, Thomas inherited the tobacco farm in Virginia.
Let's go, Thomas.
He was 20 years old. This was the first time that Thomas Rolfe had sailed back to Virginia from England. Now he was a wealthy landowner. He had to learn about the tobacco farming business. He also became a lieutenant of the Jamestown colony. Thomas grew up hearing about the stories of his mother Pocahontas, and he knew that his grandfather, half-sister, and many of his aunts and uncles would have been overjoyed to see him. By this time, there had been several wars and conflicts between the Native Americans and the colonists. There were now strict rules that the colonists should not interact with Native Americans and vice versa. Thomas Rolfe tried to petition the governor of Virginia to let him meet his family, but his request was denied. He lived among the white colonists of Jamestown. If he ever found a way to speak to his relatives, he would have had to do so in secret, and there would never be a record of it. So yeah, this story, it's just incredibly tragic and kind of infuriating. We wish there was a happy ending. Unfortunately, though, sometimes the bad guys win. But if it were not for Pocahontas' resilience and strength, this story could have been a lot worse. She was such a special person that she was able to prove to the English that the natives truly did have souls, and it was worthy that they maintain their culture. If there is any light in this dark story, it's that Pocahontas became a well-loved icon for hundreds of years. For all of the historic inaccuracies, the movie inspires a love and understanding of Native American culture. Instead of focusing on the darkest parts of her past, the world has chosen to celebrate her best qualities, her friendliness, her kindness, and her diplomacy. She chose to embrace the name that she gave herself, the Playful One, because at the end of the day, it's still who she truly was. So I'm not going to ask if you enjoyed that one, but please feel free to vent your...
Yeah, you guys enjoy that? How would you guys like that one? Like I said, this one was kind of a... I think he did a pretty good job at kind of dishing out all of the information. Because that was the one thing that I did kind of see. It was speculation, and I kind of like that he did state it as such. Was the thing about that she could have possibly been poisoned. It was just kind of odd that randomly contracted this illness. But like he said, her son also contracted the illness at around the same time. So there is a possibility that they just had a susceptibility genetically, which is also possible. But yeah, I obviously have other stuff. Maybe I will talk about Pocahontas more, I'm sure. But I think that is probably going to be it for today. I'm going to be back again on Friday to do another H3 waiting room stream. Again, Saturday to do another Indigenous peoples learning stream. And then Sunday, we're going to be talking about religion, but religion and native religion. So I kind of have like a breakdown. I kind of have a concept of what I want to do. Basically make it like I don't want to call it like a sermon, but a time to discuss different topics in different religions and kind of cross reference the beliefs. And kind of I want to do that through native cultures as well. There's quite a few things that I picked out that I think would be interesting to look at. Sorry, Ethan. I gotta go. Have they really not started the members episode yet? I really haven't checked. Since when they do members episodes, I am a little bit more loosey-goosey, and sorry about that. I really do appreciate it. But as you can see from the title, this technically wasn't a waiting room stream, so I'm sorry. But have a great day, y'all. Remember, like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is Captain Quasar, signing off. They pushed the member stream back till 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. You said 4. In my mind, as you can see. As you can see. It's earlier than that. So I got scared for you guys. But yeah, I got some stuff I gotta do too. So really do appreciate Captain Quasar signing off.